E3 2019. It's the end of a long Xbox conference. The crowd are tired and waiting for some kind of big announcement or reveal to come up. Then, one name appears on the screen. The excitement is felt all across the room, and then another name appears. Two of the most acclaimed masters of their respective crafts, Elden Ring. From the announcement trailer alone, everybody knew that this was going to be special. The majestic knights flying, the beautiful warlord with a mechanical arm, the colossal behemoth of a knight, lonely and tormented in a battlefield of fallen soldiers. It was immediately clear that From Software were back in full force, ready to carry on their legacy with another notoriously hard but loved game. But then, nothing. There was nothing for 3 years. Complete silence from the developers, with the fans only knowing that this open world game had been in development since 2017. But that was all that was needed. From Software fans created one of the most insane word-of-mouth marketing campaigns I've ever seen, and on the 25th of February 2022, everything changed for From Software. Elden Ring instantly became one of the most critically acclaimed video games in history, and claims of best game of all time, nearly everybody who played it rang clear. This led to it becoming one of the most successful video games ever made, hitting a peak of 952,523 concurrent players and selling more than 20 million copies in its first year of release only. Despite the absurd length of the game, it didn't take long for people to become desperate for a DLC. Now fast forward to the Game Awards 2022, where expectations are high for a DLC announcement. Elden Ring faced off against God of War Ragnarok for the majority of awards in an intense matchup, with both critical darlings taking home their fair share of awards. But at the end of the night, the winner was announced, Elden Ring. Now everybody was certain we'd get the announcement, right? Final Fantasy XVI release date, Cyberpunk DLC, Death Stranding 2, even Armored Core 6, but no Elden Ring. Everyone left that night with a bittersweet feeling. Yes, Elden Ring won Game of the Year, but also doubt started to rightfully emerge that a DLC even existed. Bloodborne's The Old Hunters only took 8 months to release, Dark Souls 3's DLC took 7 and 12 months respectively, but after a whole year since the game's launch, there was still not even a release date for an Elden Ring DLC. It was looking like we just have to accept that From Software had moved on. That was until February 28th, 3 days after the 1-year anniversary. Shadow of the Erdtree, the game's expansion, was confirmed to be in development by a Twitter post. Yes, a Twitter post. A wave of relief flew over the entire Souls fanbase, but then, there was just nothing. For 10 months. So now here we are, in the exact same position we were after the base game's announcement. We have practically no information on when it will come out, where it will be set, or even just what is in the DLC, except for this one pretty ambiguous picture. Although some people will try and tell you that we already know everything from that one picture, mental illness is a serious thing. The only type of date we have right now is the Game Awards coming up in less than a month, which is extremely likely to have a trailer and release date then. So the main question we should be asking ourselves right now is, what can we expect from the DLC? These are my predictions. There will be one massive new region, similar to the Witcher 3's Blood and Wine expansion, in which we'll have a main objective which involves going through 2 chalice dungeons along the lines of Stormvale Castle and fighting 4 major bosses through that time. But in a game like Elden Ring, the side content is just as important, and I feel confident in saying that this DLC will have a huge variety of areas to explore, new weapons and armor to find, and hopefully some pretty great boss fights. FromSoft have a history of saving their hardest and their best bosses for the DLC, with each past expansion having a super boss that dwarfs everything of the base game. Bloodborne hid Orphan of Kos, Dark Souls 3 hid Gale and Midir, and the exciting thing about this, Elden Ring already had this with Malenia, by far the hardest fight in the series' history and arguably the hardest boss in all of modern gaming. So in Shadow of the Erdtree, there's a pretty high chance that we're gonna fight something more challenging than Malenia. Maybe I'm just a masochistic psychopath, but that is so exciting to me. There is so much deep value to be found in these games. Those days of spending hours upon hours learning and mastering a boss's mechanics and experiencing that adrenaline pumping rush of joy, pride and accomplishment is always the best part of these games to me, even if I wouldn't tell you that at the time. And, judging by other people's reactions to finally beating Malenia, I know for a fact that I'm not alone in this. From Software have set extremely high expectations for Shadow of the Erdtree that no other developer except FromSoft would ever be able to live up to. But honestly speaking, I have no idea where we could even go with a DLC. Narratively, there's loads of options, but I'm not going to pretend like I know much about the lore. I'm talking visually and what type of new environments the DLC can introduce. The base game of Elden Ring is always so grand, varied, and so complete. I can't think of a single type of environment that wasn't in it. Don't think for a second that this is me doubting them. Time and time again, the Soulsborne series has given us some of the best DLCs in all of gaming. They all take their respective games a step up from how they originally were, and these DLCs are always by far the best parts of the game. So with Elden Ring's base game being even better than any of the other base games from the series, this DLC is looking to be the best piece of Soulsborne content ever created. And somehow, I don't have a single concern or worry. I already know that what we're going to get is a mind-blowing world full of spectacle, a complex but rich lore, expansive, interconnected, and exciting levels, the coolest weapons you'll ever see, and boss fights that are equally beautiful, somber, depressing, awesome, and really fucking hard. We have every reason possible to believe this is what we're getting. And the fact that it's already been twice as long as it took them to make the Old Hunters, and we still don't even have a release date, just shows they're really taking their time to perfect this. Shadow of the Erdtree is shaping up to be one of the best expansions ever made, rivaling The Witcher 3's Blood and Wine and Mass Effect 3's Citadel DLC, and surpassing them if it lives up to these expectations.